want to talk about today is goals, right? So if you're on a journey in life, if you don't know your outcome, where you're going, where you're headed, you're going to end up wherever the universe takes you, which could actually be a good thing, but the odds are it's not going to be the universe. It's going to be life itself overwhelming you, and you wake up 10, 15 years from now and saying, shoot, 10, 15 years flew by, what just happened to me? So when we lay out our plan, we map out our life on who we want to be. I'll always say to my kids, where do you see yourself 20 years from now? You have to have an idea of the person you want to be. And one of the best things to do that's always worked for me is to have great mentors. You have to have amazing people around you, especially that are older than you, 10, 15, 20 years older than you, that you could say, I want what they have. I want to be doing that. I want to dress like that. I want to drive a car like that. I want to have a family like that. I want a spouse like that. And then you ask them how'd they do it? What'd they do? What were they doing? So what I've done is I've laid out what I call the 6 F's, okay? And the first one starts with faith. Do you have faith or don't you? Now, part of my job is not to save you and make you a born-again Christian, but my other part of my job is to save you. And I really feel like you have to have faith, and you've got to have faith in a higher power. For me, it's God. To know that that gives me my foundation, that no matter what happens, as long as I have faith, I keep working, I keep pushing, that everything is going to be okay, all right? Because it's one thing to pray for something, and you hear Tony Robbins say this all the time. You could stand over your flower bed and there's a bunch of weeds, and you could pray for the weeds to disappear. They're not going to. They're actually going to grow more, and they're going to spread and take over your flower bed. So you got to get down on your hands and knees and start pulling the weeds out. So you have to look at your life and say, where are my weeds? And one of the cleanest ways to clean up your weeds is to turn a lot of your problems over to God and just have faith that you're going to have a bigger, higher mission purpose on this earth, and you're going to find out and wake up to what your purpose is, and life's going to be truly better. So you got to have faith. You got to believe. You got to believe in something other than yourself. Look around, and that takes a lot of the stress off of you. And that's a big journey, and that takes work. I mean, I've been working on that for years, and I listen to a lot of different preachers. You know, I listen to Stephen Furtick, Joel Osteen, Billy Graham. I mean, I go all gamuts. I have different rabbis that I listen to because I'm not necessarily there for the religion, but more for the message that could fill my cup to substantiate my belief system and build my faith. And the more faith you get, the more simplistic life gets. I mean, you just kind of put things out there and realize you don't have that much control. Things will get simpler for you. Family. Where's family in your life? You know, you've got your relationship with God, but now your family. And what's your role in your family? And that's really your relationship as a leader within your own household. The greatest legacy we can leave is what our children become, the kind of men, women that they become. You know, I look at my son now, he's 13 years old. What kind of man is he going to be doing? What's his going to be walk in life when he's 30 years old? My daughters, where are they in their life? They range from 19 down to 9, that every conversation we have in their life, I mean, I got to make sure we empower them that they could discover themselves and become strong human beings and not victims in life. They build a strong story. So your principles that you carry within yourself a lot of times come off of how you were raised. And the honest gut check is, has that served you well? Are you happy with the man or woman you became? And are you going to teach your children the same thing? If the answer is no, then you really got to dig deep, and this is part of the work. This is pulling the weeds out, is you got to be watching, you know, there's YouTube videos, listening to podcasts like this, reading the books, asking people who maybe or have a different walk in life, that are maybe a stronger walk, more successful, whatever that definition is for you. Ask them questions, get around them, get yourself a mentor group that could raise you up. And here's the deal. If you're the strongest person in your mentor group, the odds are you're not going to grow because you're discussing things with people at a different level. The odds are you may go to a lesser level. So you got to find people that are killing it, that are succeeding, doing more than you ever imagined. And the more you hang out with them, you know, what is a successful, for me, what does a successful family man look like? What is his walk in life? What's his mornings look like? What does his evenings look like? What are vacations? Are they vacationing? Are they traveling? Are they creating experiences? And the answer is yes. That's why I mention these things. They're creating experiences, challenges. I often say my house is like a boot camp for my kids, where I challenge them at home and I put them in situations because I know the world is tough on the outside, and I want my kids, especially my daughters, to be powerful. I don't want them to be victims. The third F is fitness, you know, and this is something that I found with myself, that every single year I'd have my fitness goal in there, whether it's a certain weight and I wanted to run a race and do things. And I had a tough bunch of things where I've done triathlon, I've done marathon, I've done, I was very athletic. And I started sustaining, injuries where I couldn't run anymore, couldn't swim anymore, and it was just lifting was tough. And as I fell out of the realm of it, and I was putting all my focus and energy into my practice and patience, and I was just kind of surviving my body, getting through the day, and then, just being sore and achy the next day, I lost a bit of myself in the fitness realm, lost a lot of myself in the fitness realm, and I had to wake up and say, no more. I'm not letting this happen anymore. So for me, it was really studying fit people, fit men over 50 years old. What are they doing? What's their lifestyle like? And write it down. I mean, I've got a yellow legal pad. I'm a big believer that you have a yellow legal pad and you write it out. You got to sit down and put the time and energy. If your house is a crazy zone like mine is, get up at 5:30 in the morning and put the time and energy to write down exactly what does fit mean to you. What's an ideal weight? We have a mentor group that we utilize, and we have a text thread that we go through that we hold each other accountable to make sure that, you may be having a bad day today, but let's make tomorrow better. Let's lift each other up. And if you're dogging it, we're going to call you out man to man and let you know you're dogging it. Suck it up. Don't do it. If you're eating crap and that's not going to feed your fitness goal, then stop. We're not just going to endorse it. We're not going to allow it. We're going to try to lift you up to a higher standard because it's truly what you want in your heart in life, and life's going to try to get in the way and sabotage it. And you need people around to lift you up. And then when other people are down or they're struggling, the empowerment part is you're going to help them to help lift them up. So you've got to have fitness. So far we have faith, we got family, and we've got fitness. Financial, let's talk money. Is someone who has a lot of debt compared to someone who's debt-free more stressed or less stressed? And I could hear you laughing, saying they're more stressed. Debt sucks. So I study a lot of people. Dave Ramsey's one of my biggest mentors with this, and he talks about the baby steps. Learn Dave Ramsey's baby steps. Set up a system. Because as you get deeper into this and you start getting into these money people, you see that they battle each other, and there's different people. Robert Kiyosaki, he'll kind of make fun of Dave Ramsey in their own little way. It's just because they have different outlooks. But what I do is take Robert Kiyosaki's strengths. I love real estate, what he does. I've got real estate investments, which has compounded interest and created financial freedom. But getting rid of debts and using your money wisely and just realizing that money is just energy and money just has to keep moving. But you have to stop the train and sit down and write on a piece of paper exactly where you are financially and if that's making sense, right? So maybe you don't buy that new shirt or you don't go to the drive-through window and buy that lunch that's expensive because it's not feeding your financial freedom and you've got to make sacrifice. Problem is people don't want to make sacrifice. They want to live for the glory today. They're looking for the instant gratification. They'll put it on a credit card and I'll get it later. And now they're paying 15, 16% interest and they don't catch up. You're not going to catch up and that creates stress. So financial freedom is going to buy you emotional freedom. So study that, research that. I mean, we could do further things down the road, things that I've done, but we just want to give you an overview today. Friendship. Let's analyze your friendships. If you were to pull out your phone and pull out your last 10, 15 text conversations, what were they like? If you think about who you've been hanging out with over the past 6 months, what conversations have you been having? What kind of things have you been talking about? What do these people look like? What does their finances look like? They say if you take the 5 average people you hang out with and you take their income and you average all of your incomes together, you're all going to be around the same income. It's a weird energy thing. So when you start studying who you're hanging out with and how you're going to elevate yourself to another level, then you're going to find different successes. So when you start looking at your friendships, what are your conversations and are you empowering each other? Are you discussing things about how we can be better, what can I do better? Manifesting our future, what we want to be, but also exposing our weakness. And weakness is such a powerful word. It's one of the biggest words in the backpack that life gets on us and it makes us weak. And what people try to do is try to bury their weakness, whether it's through drugs, alcohol, trying to appear a certain way, put on the extra makeup, put on a nice blazer, whatever. And it's like a Halloween costume, but it's really burying your true emotions on who we are on the inside. A real friend's going to look you in the eye and say, what's going on? Something's not right. And I've done this with friends of mine, and friends have done it with me. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. No, you're not. I'm feeling like there's something up. And then there's that moment of silence, and it's like, let's talk. Like, let's create a space, and we call it shedding the husks at DE, where you could find out what those things you're carrying, the proverbial rocks in the backpack that you pull out. Let's put it up on a shelf and let's analyze it. Let's look at it. Let's meet it head on and set a goal, action steps on how we can make it better. And then the final one, number 6, is one of my favorite ones. Is just have some fun. Have some fun. Life doesn't have to be constant work. And one of the biggest things I had to learn to do is unplug. And my first 8, 9, 10 years in practice will say I didn't take a vacation. I worked. I hustled. I was working 7 days a week. I was up at 4 in the morning, and I was guilty if I wasn't working. And one of my mentors just looked at me in the eyes one day. He said, "You're exhausted. You're tired." And I'm like, I felt like a failure, like I'm not supposed to be. But the truth was I was tired. He said, "You need to break away. You need to take your wife. You need to take your kids and just go away for a couple of days. Take a 4-day weekend." I was terrified. I was terrified what was going to happen with my practice, my patients. I wasn't there for them. I was being lazy. And he said, look, when you're away and you just are able to get quiet and you're able to detach for a couple of days, it's going to bring your energy back so that you could serve those around you better. You could serve them at a higher level. Unplugging so you could plug in. And that's one of the biggest things I found. And too many people will say to me, we'll talk to patients and I'll even talk to doctors, and they'll say, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. And they're wearing, they got the newest cell phone. They're wearing the Apple Watch. They've leased a BMW. They're wearing, $150 shirts, or they're just out eating all the time. They're golfing when they shouldn't be golfing. Whatever they're doing, they're spending money that's draining their bucket instead of empowering themselves. So when you go through your financial goals, where's my money going? Where am I spending it? And where can I stop the leaky bucket and put it into something myself and go on a little trip with my family? And there's a lot of inexpensive ways to just get away. We would get away to a place where we could get on the beach, because that's where I could, get myself connected. But then over time, as I started hitting all my goals, those trips got nicer. They got bigger. And we created experiences for the kids, and we have fun. And now we're able to travel with just couples, friends of ours. We just went to Cabo, Mexico, and we just had a blast sitting around the pool, the beach, going out to dinner, dancing, telling jokes, being stupid, being silly, but then jumping on a plane, and we're all moms and dads and business owners and people that have worked hard in our life. My best friends all live in other states and countries, but we have a place to connect and just celebrate life. Because you know what? I've been to a lot of conferences where someone will die and they play a memorial video and they play a sad song and everybody's crying. And I look out on the crowd and I'm thinking, that's going to be every single one of us someday. So I want really damn good pictures. I want awesome relationships. I want fun things to talk about. And I also want a checklist where all my goals were met, and I met my destiny head on. I wasn't a victim in life. And I did exactly what God designed me to do, which is connecting to Him, connecting to my family, but more so connecting to myself, that it's the best version of myself and my best life possible. So commit today that you're going to sit down and get quiet, and you're going to go through the 6 goals: faith, family, fitness, financial, friendship, fun. And I guarantee 1 or 2 of them you're going to get caught up on. You're going to have a hard time. Reach out to me and I'll help you. Be blessed.